Welcome to our NFL Week 10 predictions. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter this week because it's already midnight and I have work at 6 in the morning. So let's try to get through this as quick as we can. There's my dad. I went 6-8 last week. My overall record is 83-51, so that's still a decent record. Not the weekly record, obviously. That is ass. That is very, very bad. Yeah, not very good. But you know, what can you do? It was a week with a lot of upsets in it. Okay, Greg went 7-7, so one pick better than me, 75-59. So I still have a better overall record by about 8, I believe. Because 7-7 is a pretty mediocre record. But Greg's also been, apart from the 2 weeks he went 14. I know Greg's been really up and down. It's either like 14-2 or 7-7. For me, I think I also got 13 or 14 wins one week, but then also dropped down to 6-8 this week. And then we have Zach with the overall winner. He's 4 games ahead of me, so I really gotta catch up this week or I'm screwed. So I have to hope that these games go in my favor. I guess we shall see. We do have a lot of different picks this week, which is good. It's a pretty good week for football. 9-5 is probably the best record you're gonna get out of this week of football, just because there were so many upsets. If somebody got a better record than 9-5, I'll be impressed. Okay, Raiders Broncos. I'm gonna take the Broncos by 3. And yeah, not much to say about this game. I do think the Raiders are starting to get cooking a little bit, which I predicted would happen. They should have beat the Jaguars. I still can't believe that they didn't. And I would have went 7-7 if I did. I mean, I can make a whole video about shoulda, coulda, woulda, but yeah, there's a couple games I'm upset about losing this year, and this is definitely our Raiders Jaguars one of them because I was completely right. I knew the Raiders were going to look good, and then they did look really good and should have won, but didn't. The Broncos, their offense hasn't even been that good. It's just that their defense is number one in the league. Their defense wins championships, right? And it's just standing true. All right, Greg also took the Broncos. Not going to spend too much time on this game. The Raiders could win. Brock Bowers just has to drop 40 fantasy points again. But realistically, I could see the Raiders winning this. Okay, maybe not this because the Broncos are at home. But if the Raiders were at home in this game, then things would be different. I could actually see the Raiders winning it. I could still see the Raiders winning it, but probably not. Zach agrees. Broncos by 10. That's probably a realistic bet. But at least the Raiders' offense got going a little bit. But playing the number one defense isn't going to be very pretty. Okay, international Falcons Colts. I'm going to take the Colts by 10. The Falcons are an incredibly hard team to pick because, much like the Packers, they can go out and beat the Steelers or beat the Eagles or beat the Bills and then also lose to the Panthers and lose to the Browns and lose to the worst teams in the league. So it's really hard to predict what the Falcons will do. The Colts have been really good, other than losing to the Steelers last week, which was pretty disappointing. I would have expected more. But the Steelers' defense is really just hit or miss. They came alive last week for some reason, even though they sucked most of the year. Anyway, the Colts should get the win here. Greg agrees 34-23, and then Zach will also take the Colts by 38-24. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be in Germany. That's going to be interesting because the Colts are technically at home, but I don't think they're really going to be at home. There's really no home field advantage here. I mean, the Rams Jaguars game is a perfect example of that because the Jaguars were technically at home because it's in London, and then the Rams just dismantled them. So really no home field advantage, but I'm curious if the Falcons can do it. The Falcons could definitely win this game. Um, the Colts did not look very good last week, and the Falcons did, but don't trust the Falcons to do anything. That's the one life lesson you need to learn. Jaguars, Texans. Texans by 7. I don't know if CJ Stroud is playing yet. He might. But I like the Texans at home. The Jaguars proved that they're not that good by should have losing to the Raiders. So, well, I guess the Raiders were at home. But yeah, I just don't think the Jaguars can pull it off twice. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, you got lucky the first time. I don't think that you can get lucky the second time. Going on the road 2 games in a row, it's going to be tough for them. Even if CJ Stroud isn't playing, I just trust the Texans defense to get it done. Greg disagrees. He'll take the Jaguars, which makes sense. CJ Stroud injury is scaring everybody. But you also have to think about Vegas. How many people are going to take the Jaguars in this game? Probably everybody. So imagine how much money Vegas is going to make if everybody takes the Jaguars and they're like, oh, well, Davis Mills is really good all of a sudden. Now, can you give me all the money? And then everybody's like, oh, shit. You're right. We should have seen this coming. Of course, this was going to happen because they're the Jaguars. Zach will also take the Jaguars by 3, which makes sense, 17-14. Everybody knows it should be a close game just because of the Texans' defense. They can probably single-handedly win in this game. That's what I predict to happen. Browns Jets. I'm going to be in the Philippines, or I'm actually going to be on a plane going to the Philippines during this game, which is good because I do not want to watch this game. So yeah, if there's any week to go to the Philippines, it would be this week, right? I am kind of disappointed I don't get to watch any of the Sunday or Monday games because I'm going to be on a plane. But if there's any game that I'm not disappointed about watching, it's definitely this one. But yes, I have the Jets winning. It's crazy because Sauce Gardner's gone, Quinnen Williams gone, every Jets good player is gone, but that's what they want you to believe. I sound like a conspiracy theorist now, but no, it's true because the team will trade all these pieces. We've seen it time and time again. A bad team will just give up and say, okay, we're tanking. We're going to trade all of our players and get a bunch of first round picks. And then they win the next week, and everybody's like, what? How did they win? They just lost all of these players. But it will happen, trust me. Don't worry. The Browns should win this game. But, I mean, a perfect example is coincidentally the Jets when Robert Saleh. Okay, I think I got this in reverse. I mean, the Jets' defense was good, and then Robert Saleh left, and then they were bad. Okay, that was not a very good example. I thought I had something better than that. But you know what I mean. It's like even Brian Callahan getting fired for Tennessee. The Titans actually look pretty good now. So getting rid of pieces isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's pretty much the point I was trying to get at. I just took a while to get there. Greg will take the Browns by 2. Makes sense. Browns should be favored in this game. Zach will take them by 1. Yeah, it's probably not going to be a great game, but Browns defense is really good and Jets defense shouldn't be very good, but I bet you the Jets defense will be pretty good. Bills, Dolphins, delusional Dolphins fan. What have I done? Why did I do this to myself? Now you can see why I went 6-8. This is probably my worst prediction since picking the Dolphins to beat the Ravens. I don't really know what I'm thinking here. I just think that division matchup, the Dolphins are at home. It's Florida weather. it's gonna happen, especially with all the upsets last week. It's gotta happen. I think that they're gonna split the series. It's just a gut feeling, and I've been wrong about the Bills Dolphins for many years, pretty much every year, but I can have faith, right? I believe that the Dolphins will win this game by 3. Greg disagrees, obviously, and so does Zach. Zach really disagrees, 41-7. Wow. Now I can really see how delusional I'm being. But I don't think though. The Bills already shown this year that they can have off weeks. Against the Falcons was a perfect example of that. Um, and home field advantage is a real thing, especially in Miami. And I think that Tua's pink eye is probably gone now, which, I mean, he played really good against Atlanta, so that's why you'd say, oh, well, he should still have it. Okay, see, I'm tired, but no, I think his pink eye is going to go away, and I think he's going to do really good now. Because it's like he had pink eye and he was good, and then he still had pink eye and then he was bad, and then now it's going to go away. Okay, I don't know what I'm yapping about anymore. Ravens Vikings. So I'm gonna take the Vikings 27-20. Lamar is back, and he really showed that he's back by dropping 4 touchdowns on the Dolphins. But that first quarter is a good example of the Ravens, or yeah, the Ravens being the same 1-7 Ravens, because they could have, should have, yeah, could have, should have, would have lost that game against the Dolphins if we're just basing it off the first quarter. I think the Dolphins would have won that game. So that just goes to show that the Vikings defense isn't that, or I mean, the Ravens defense isn't that great. The Vikings defense is good, and the Vikings shown that, they beat the Lions last week. They showed that don't give up on them yet. They still have a little bit of fight left in them. And they're at home. I think that the Ravens are going to get it done. I mean, I think that the Vikings are going to get it done. Greg is going to take the Ravens 29-24, and then Zach's going to take them 35-32. Really high scoring game for a good Vikings defense, but I guess it's the Ravens offense with Lamar, so it makes sense. Patriots Buccaneers. I'll take the Buccaneers by 2. Patriots should be favored in this game, but who knows what would have happened in the overtime of the Patriots Falcons game. But Falcons, now Patriots should have won that game. Drake London went crazy. But still, the Patriots were close to losing. That's the only point I'm getting at. And the Buccaneers shown that they can have a really explosive offense when they need to. And at home, I think that's what's going to happen. Greg is also going to take the Buccaneers by 4. And then Zach is going to take the Patriots. I think the Patriots are the safe bet here. But I don't know. They're still the same old Patriots. You got to remember that. But the Buccaneers didn't even look good against the Lions, so I don't know. I think the main problem that people have with predictions is they just think too much of it. They're like, oh, well, the Buccaneers lost to the Lions, but the Patriots beat the Lions, so that means that the Patriots should win because they beat the team that team lost to. But that's not really how it works. It's mostly just, game plan. There's a lot more things that go into it than just that. But people think about it too much. Just purely think about offense versus defense, not about, oh, the Falcons beat the Bills, but the Panthers beat the Falcons, so the Panthers are going to beat the Bills. It's not really how it works. But I think the Panthers do play the Bills, and the Panthers are at home, so unless that game already happened. I don't know. I've lost my mind. Giants, Bears. I'm going to take the Bears at home. Sad what happened to the Giants with all the injuries. Bears looked pretty good. Still think it's going to be a pretty close game. This has potential to be game of the week. I'll say that. I think this is going to be a really good game. Greg will also take the Bears, which is surprising because I think before this he took the Giants every week, but I think Greg's really trying to make a run for it, which he can definitely do. Um, and then Zach is going to take the Bears by 10. Uh, Zach's doing the smart thing, obviously. He's taking pretty much almost all of the safe bets, which makes sense because that's how you know, I do the same thing. If I was winning, I would take safe bets too because it's just the right thing to do. And then you can see Greg and I are taking more risky picks. Uh, Panthers, Saints. I'll take the Panthers by 4. I think it will be a close game. The Panthers have these weird division matchups in general are a perfect example of teams playing down to their opponents. It's really hard to predict division matchups because both teams know each other well. So who knows? The Saints could win this game. I don't think so, but it's going to be closer than it should be. Greg agrees. Panthers by 7, and then Zach will take the Panthers by a little bit more than that, which makes sense. This is probably what the score should look like. Cardinals Seahawks, another division matchup. I'll take the Seahawks by 3. Cardinals game is another game that I'm disappointed about. Pretty much every Cardinals game this year I've been disappointed about. And this is coming from a 49ers fan, so you know that the Cardinals have been disappointing. Should have beat the. Oh, wait, no, they did beat the Cowboys. What am I talking about? No, I mean that I should have taken the Cardinals to beat the Cowboys because I was so close to doing it. I literally had it typed out. I had Cardinals 27-23 or something like that. And I was like, well, no, I can't do it because the Cowboys are at home and the Cowboys have the best offense in the league. Cardinals defense is underrated, and I'm not going to take them in this game because the Seahawks defense is really good. But yeah, the picture was hanging on the wall the whole time that the Cardinals defense are really good and the Cowboys defense is not really good. So the Cardinals should have won that game and they actually pulled it off surprisingly. But against Seattle, I don't think so. Greg's also going to take Seattle by 2. Division matchup too, so it's going to be close. It should be a really good game. And then Zach is going to take the Seahawks by 3. Everybody has it close. 34-31 is a pretty high scoring game for two good defenses. But also the offenses showed that they can do a lot. I like Seattle's offense a lot more than I like the Cardinals, though. Rams, Niners, another good one. All NFC West teams play each other this week, so that's really good. I'll take the Niners. Another interesting prediction coming from a 49ers fan, but I just think the 49ers are at home. Yes, it would make sense for them to split the series because the 49ers already beat the Rams earlier in the year, but home field advantage, I'm telling you, we can do it. We have the Rams number, and the Rams, I think, are a better team than the 49ers, but we just got lucky that we get to play at home here. Greg will take the Rams by 3, and then Zach Rams by 7. Safe pick. But I don't know. Games happen like this where if the opposing team wins away, then you're really screwed because then you have to play them again, but they're at home this time. So now it's like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? We're gonna lose probably. And then Lions, Commanders. I'll take the Commander. I mean, I'll take the Lions by 14. Yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet. Probably the safest prediction of the week. The Commanders are completely done. They're done for. They're in the ground. They're 6 feet under. They're buried. Uh, we could have said the same thing about the 49ers with injuries, but yeah, the Commanders, congratulations, you get the crown. I'm giving you the crown from the 49ers. You can sit on your throne of injuries with Jaden Daniels' broken arm at the very top. It's just, yeah, this is bad, bad. Nothing good will come of this game, so I don't even really need to talk about it that much. Oh, that's supposed to say 44-17, by the way. I thought I'd change that. But don't worry, Zach. If it's 44-17, I'm going to give you your bonus points still. And I'm going to remember because I'll change it after this. Steelers, Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers by 3. Thought about taking the Steelers. I'm going to be really angry if I did the same thing I did last week and change my pick last second. I mean, I did change my pick last second, but I don't know. I changed my pick just because the Chargers are at home and the Steelers' defense is too inconsistent. If they play like they did against the Colts, then they should definitely win this game. But I just don't trust the Steelers' defense. Neither do I really trust the Chargers' defense, but I trust the Chargers' offense a lot more at home. Greg will take the Steelers. I respect this pick. Can definitely do it. I just don't really trust the Steelers' offense that much. If they're going to win, it's going to have to be on defense. And then Zach will take the Chargers 28-24. A pretty good pick. Eagles, Packers, good Monday Night Football game. I'll take the Packers at home. Like I said, the Packers are actually not a very hard team to predict because you can expect them to, if they're playing a bad team, well, the Panthers aren't even that bad of a team, but they always play down to their competition. And I think kind of what's happening here is that they keep getting caught off guard. It's like Matt LaFleur they play the Browns and the Panthers. They're like, oh, well, we're the better team, so let's start preparing to play Philadelphia a week early. So then they start game planning how we're going to beat the Eagles, what are we going to do to beat the Eagles. They just forget about the Panthers and the Browns completely, and then they lose. They're like, oh man, we lost. But at least now we can beat the actual team that we want to beat. So I think they're actually going to beat the Eagles. You still lost to the Panthers and the Browns, but at least you beat the Eagles. Greg actually agrees with me. And also Packers' home field advantage is obvious too. But the Eagles should probably be favored here just because of what happened in Brazil. Well, I can't really say that. Jordan Love was injured, and that was a year ago. The Packers are at home. That's what's most important. And then Zach is taking the Eagles. Even if the Eagles lose this game, I still think that they don't have any competition. Really, the only competition they have in their division is the Cowboys. But even then, and then the Cowboys just got Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson, which is really funny because now the Cowboys are acting like they're going all in, even though they have a 4-1 record. Not a great record, and then they're just going all in, which is not very smart. But it's Jerry Jones. Okay, so I've spent a long time